interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin.
Very careful.
This formula for gaining that power.
Remember, thousands of lives are at stake.
Keep listening to radio and TV for subsequent
Do you have radio capability?
385, 4 X-ray 763.
That's transmitting.
Signal's clear, good signal, and we're ready. I'm standing by.
Go ahead.
Here we go.
Activate the protocol.
You never want to name something with a year in it if you want it to travel at all
That's true.
through history.
Yeah.
Blues Brothers 2000 is what we're talking about, of course. I mean, it just looks stupid now. No, I mean, or September 11th. I guess that comes every year.
Yeah.
Not okay. No, just like 20th Century Fox.
Yeah.
I guess in 1921 or whatever it was, they're like, this will go forever. And if it doesn't, well, we'll be on to something else by then.
Right?
We'll have our flying cars
Yeah.
on Mars. And candy bars. Get out of here, Blondie. But it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter what number it is or what year it is. Disney's buying it.
That's right.
That's right. The word has come in that Fox shareholders, 21st Century Fox shareholders, have
Who knows?
approved the merger. And I think it took about 8 minutes. And
Which
we could
is
do just a
crazy.
quick reenactment of the vote right here. Come to order. Okay, who wants to make scads of money? Just a crap ton of money.
Ooh,
I see. Okay, there's a
aye,
hand
aye.
over there. All in
Yes.
favor, right?
Yes.
I say we don't do it. Get him out of here.
Kill him. Get
Right.
a rope.
Some mouse-dressed guards come in and drag him off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they approved that, and so it's official.
Yep.
It's going to happen.
I want to see my Iron Man with my Wolverine.
Do you?
Get the chocolate with the peanut butter.
Yeah, in your Jello pudding pop? What were you doing there?
I don't know.
All right, keep working on that one. I don't care so much about that. Oh, and the remainder, the appendix, the little part of the chicken breast you cut off and throw away
Yep.
of this story is the news, business, and sports sides of Fox will be spun off into new Fox. Great branding. Great branding. They have so
Always
much
thinking
money.
ahead.
These guys have so much money. They're like, sir, what are we going to call it? New Fox? I don't know. Rubbing it on his face. I don't know where that money's been.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not super excited about the whole X-Men thing.
Really?
It's the Fantastic Four property that I want.
Yes.
Who was it? Who did we talk to? James Kakalios? We were talking about the same thing.
I think so.
And he was like, yeah, as soon as Thanos is done and the world's back to normal, you know, a portal opens up and the Richards family comes out. And Reed Richards is like, what's going on? Any mail for me? We were gone for a while.
Yeah.
Any messages? Yeah.
Yeah, to explain where they've been.
Yeah, just have
this whole
them
time.
come back from the negative zone or something like
Okay,
that. And,
yeah.
But I'm way more excited about that. The question for this is, or what this leaves in the lurch is, what happens to the Fox properties, comic book properties that are currently in development?
production? Yeah.
Like the long-suffering New Mutants movie.
Yes.
Which is being almost completely reshot.
I heard that.
Or the X-Men Dark Phoenix movie.
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
I think they're still going to come out. I had read that they were going to be shelved, but that has been nixed, and they're still coming out. Looks like 2019.
Yeah, I think Phoenix is supposed to come out February 14th of 2019.
Okay.
For all you lovers out there.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a love story.
Yeah, of sorts.
Are they even going out in the films? They've got
no
a lot
idea.
to set up in this thing.
Yeah.
And then put Jessica Chastain in it somehow.
Yeah.
And she's not Lilandra, so I don't know how that's going to work.
I don't know either.
And the New Mutants movie is going to come out August 2nd. Now, shouldn't those be flipped? Isn't February the time to release your weird,
Dark.
weird premise horror film?
Yeah.
Which is what New Mutants is supposed to be. And then your summer blockbuster is in August.
Is Dark Phoenix.
They know
I
what they're
would
doing.
agree with that.
I guess. Worst case scenario,
Yeah.
could Disney just eat these?
Yes.
Because if I was
think
all
so.
of these actors, I'd be calling my agent. Because
Yeah.
Disney loves to own everything they've got.
Absolutely.
And they don't want to reuse stuff necessarily. And they aren't interested in, as far as I can tell, in merging anything.
Yep.
They want to start over.
Right.
Like unto a phoenix. And so if I was Sophie Turner, I'd be looking into playing an ancestor of Sansa Stark on this Game of Thrones spinoff,
Yep.
or I'd be looking for a job. I'm not sure any of these kids are coming back.
Yeah, I'm not so sure they are either. I read somewhere that the actress who plays Magic is not going to be invited to come back for any other films because she has some issues with another actor on set.
Whoop, doo, doo, doo. Which one? Who?
It didn't
Little hot
say.
goss.
It didn't
Mika's
say.
hot goss.
It didn't say who, but it was kind of like, well, you have issues with so-and-so, so we're just going to not invite you to come back.
That's too bad because no shade on Maisie Williams, but Anya Taylor-Joy is the actress you're talking about, and she's probably the best actress in that film. Just looking at the cast list.
Okay.
But at the same time, Magic, if you read the New Mutants at all, Magic just F's off to wherever, and you don't see her for a long time.
Well, there you go.
And then when she comes back, they could just cast it like at a tall blonde woman who's a totally different actress and be like, "Oh, Magic, you grew up."
She transformed somehow.
Or just stick horns on her and do that thing. Interesting.
Yeah,
So but you don't know. It said actor, but that's gender neutral actor.
I think so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And it's got to be somebody they can't lose.
Yep,
Maisie Williams.
it could be.
Wow, you think that they wouldn't get on like a house on fire?
I have no idea.
I don't know either. I just assume all young women just
Would
text
get
each other
along.
and have slumber parties and play mystery date. And you're telling me that's not true?
No.
Okay.
No,
well,
I'm
we're learning
telling you
things.
that's
We're
not
learning. This show is for education, and this show is the Just Enough Trope podcast. I'm your host Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mika Hana.
And what a time, what a show, what a country, what
Yeah.
a deal we've got today. We're looking into the epic world of the DC animated universe, especially the DC animated universe films.
Yes.
Now, hold on there, Buckaroo, for just 1 second. We don't have time to go through all 28, 37, 41 films,
Right.
or whatever it is leading up till now, also leading up to the release of The Reign of the Supermen, which is coming out soon. What we're looking at is how it all got started, taking it back to the start and looking at some of the first full-length or feature-length films based on DC animated universe
Yep.
cartoons,
Yep.
properties, starting with Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
That's right.
Which had a theatrical release. It was not very successful in the
Oh,
theater,
no.
sadly. We're talking about that. This is the Timmverse, or
Yep.
the Diniverse, as it's sometimes called. Paul Dini and Bruce Timm, the pair that were the driving forces behind the Batman animated series.
Yep.
Which really, I mean, would you call it a new epoch in sort of I don't want to say adult, because this should be for kids, but
Yeah.
a more developed sort of cartoon universe?
Yeah, I would say so, for sure. Something that adults can enjoy as well as kids. I enjoy cartoons that are able to reach adults and yet also bring something to kids,
Yeah.
you know? And maybe there's something a little bit more in there for adults that kids go over their heads or
Yeah.
what have you. But I think it's a real testament to their creativity that they're able to find that sweet middle.
I love that sweet middle. That's my favorite thing in a snack.
That's right.
Find that sweet middle. I learned not to swipe, so it's important. You
Okay.
know? I learned that no swiping is really, when you're watching cartoons. Sometimes they're for kids, but you can learn something too.
That's true.
So, dumb. Anyway, so we're talking about that. And to that end, we just got done saying it was all Diniverse stuff, but we are going to give you a review of the Teen Titans Go to the Movies movie.
Yes.
Which had its premiere
Yes.
this week. And we'll be talking about that. And I think in a lot of ways that inherits a lot of the spirit.
I think so.
Of the earlier cartoons, of course, there's an earlier Titans cartoon. And, of course, there's there's Young Justice, and there's a lot of things, a lot of cartoons to talk about. We're going to try to hit them all at least once.
Right.
And to the end of that end, or maybe something playing over that is driving and keeping the action going.
Right.
We're going to talk about the music of those because we have an interview with Kristopher Carter, who was a Convergence guest of honor last year and an invited guest this year. And we're talking to him. We talked to him at the show, talked to him about his work on DC animated shows, also DC animated films. And this guy's worked on everything, basically, coming from Batman the Animated Series and on. He's worked on the DC films. He's worked on Batman Beyond, a lot of music there. He wrote the Batman Beyond theme, which is very distinctive.
Yep.
And he worked on Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Also the Legion of Superhero show, which I didn't think I got a fair shake. It didn't last that long, but it was very creative. And he's worked on Ben 10, and he's worked on Avengers Assemble, gone over the fence.
Sure.
Over the comic fence. There are no fences in the music world. You just play that music.
That's right.
And he's also working on the Marvel Rising Secret Warriors TV show.
Okay.
Which is also debuting soon.
Okay. Very cool.
In fact, all the music you'll hear on the show today is from Chris's new EP from his new project called The Krypton Protocol, or the KR Protocol. And it's his new album called Activate. So you can hear that music all through the show. I got to say, I put this in thinking I've heard his music before. I know it's going to be funky, which doesn't sound like a lot, but from one old white man to another, that's probably the best compliment you can give it. And I threw it in, and that first track came on, and immediately I had to get up and dance.
Of course.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And as an old white man, you know that wasn't good dancing. But I couldn't help it. And it's fantastic. So listen in for that as the show goes on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the news. A lot of TV news this week. A lot of it is TV related, specifically having to do with DC Universe. I'll mention really fast before we go on that just to take a head count, if we haven't done this previously, they're on DC Universe. We should expect a Titan show by the end of the year.
Yep.
And we're also looking for a Swamp Thing show.
Okay.
A Doom Patrol show.
All right.
This will be live action.
Okay.
And it was recently announced a Stargirl show.
Okay.
Which will also feature JSA members.
Okay.
So I'm curious as to how they're going to do that. In modern comics continuity, the JSA is definitely seen as old guard heroes.
Yeah.
Although there is a young Stargirl, and that's the one Cassie Starsmore is going to be the Stargirl that they use.
Okay.
It's fine. I would have liked a Starman show. But I think this could be really good. I think that, especially with the success of Supergirl, this is something people would want to see.
Yeah.
But if you're going to bring JSA guys in, do you bring them in as the old guys?
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of thinking they're going to bring in
Like
new...
older heroes. She finds out that she's got a connection to an older Starman.
Okay.
And then all his star friends.
Okay.
And then you could get Alan Scott Green Lantern.
Sure.
or is Green Lantern still poison?
Gosh, I really hope not.
We'll talk about that when we talk about Teen Titans Go for sure.
Okay.
We can also expect to see a season 3 of Young Justice Outsiders.
Sure.
Which of course Kris and his partners will be doing music on.
Yep.
And a Harley Quinn show.
Okay.
All Harley Quinn all the time. The Harley Quinn show is labeled as adult comedy.
Uh-oh. No kids. Sorry, kids. Harley Quinn time. So there's going to be a lot of puddings and her in negligee. And
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I can tell how you feel.
For adult eyes only.
Yeah. Different kinds of gadgets than you've seen previously.
Oh, boy.
I don't know. If it cleaves to the Batman Harley Quinn film, animated film, of which, of course, Kris worked on the music for as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, that could work.
Yeah.
The thing is that, man, we're kind of giving away the Teen Titans Go review here, but if you make a cartoon in America, you're making something for kids.
Yeah.
And it isn't until even like Venture Brothers, which is PG-13, it deals with things that kids just will not understand. The entire thing is about getting old and being a failure.
Right.
And the kids are like, what? But yet I think that there's enough there that a kid would go, oh, I get that joke, or, oh, that guy's got cool weapons or something like that.
Right.
And so if you watch the Batman Harley Quinn thing, hopefully any kids who were, let's say, double digits, 10 and up, saw it. Hopefully they enjoyed it for what they could get out of it. But, yeah, I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Maybe it'll kind of follow that track.
Maybe.
Still don't sound excited.
Might be another, Rick and Morty. I don't know.
Harley Quinn, traveling through time or dimensions?
That could be entertaining. I have a feeling it's not going to be like that, though.
This is just going to be kind of scattershot. But I wanted to say that, remember the series Altered Carbon on
Yes.
Netflix? Did we review that on the show?
I don't know if we did or not.
Well, let's redo it.
Okay.
So thumbs up, thumbs down, somebody else's thumb that you're now inside their body?
I enjoyed it overall. It was a little over the top in parts, but overall I enjoyed it.
It was, you could see the top from space, like it was
Yeah.
in orbit. Very uneven. But, maybe they could streamline it for a season 2.
Yeah.
And Anthony Mackie will be the thing that they build it around.
I'm excited about that.
He is replacing Joel Kinnaman as the main star. Of course, the premise of the show is that you can switch bodies. And
Yep.
so I think everybody else was like, oh, they should just pick somebody else to be the star in the next show. They're doing
And
that.
that's what they did. So that's good.
Get him in there.
Yeah.
Cut the check. Anthony Mackie is in for that one. What else? It looks like Charlie's Angels has been semi-cast.
I think I've read about that.
Elizabeth Banks is producing a Charlie's Angels reboot, and Kristen Stewart and Naomi Scott have been confirmed to be in it,
Yeah.
along with a newcomer actress, Ella Balinska.
Okay. Gosh, I don't know.
And, I'm sorry, I should mention that Elizabeth Banks is also playing a female Bosley.
Oh, well, that's cool.
No, it's not.
You don't think so? Good
May-
morning, angels.
Maybe it could be. The thing is that Bosley's just like, he's this nice old guy. Plus, I know the sexual dynamics have changed, but you're not worried about it because you know that Bosley's not going to try to Me Too the Angels. Like, he's
Right.
safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just see Elizabeth Banks doing her, I'm a crabby business lady, get out of my way type thing. Like we've seen that from her in a bunch of things now.
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully it'll be something a little bit more dynamic.
She did it with
than
a
that.
helmet on in the Power Rangers movie. So we will see. We'll see how that works out.
Yeah.
Excited? Thought about the Charlie's Angels at all in your life ever?
I liked when they did it in the
Not since
90s.
Jacqueline Smith left.
So I don't know. I don't know that it needs to be redone. Kristen Stewart is just. I'm not sure about her. She does an okay job, but I'm not super excited about her playing an angel. Not that they're super dynamic and everything, but
Yeah, I think the thing to do will be to redefine them because they did this
Yeah.
a couple of years ago. Remember that? And so at first it's like, hey, we're women spies, take us seriously, but you don't. So I can dress up like a cocktail waitress,
right,
but then hit you in the back of the head when you're not looking.
right.
And then who knows what was going on in the movies? I don't know. And then they redid it a little while back, and it didn't really resonate with audiences. And I think it's because it was more of a "Let's go, girls! You
Yeah.
know, we're doing this too." Off the air, I've been ranting all week about something that I've been really frustrated about, and I probably should leave it off the show, but I'll just say it really quick, which is, I pray or non-denominationally spirit, hope, and channel for the day that everything is completely 100% gender parity in things, and even non-gender, non-binary, all that stuff. We don't care. We see a character and we go, well, how do we want to do this? And does the sex matter? Can we cast anybody? Whatever.
Right.
But in the meantime, we've got this thing where we have all these properties that are now cynically aimed towards a female audience or
That's
are cynically taking advantage of, like oh, you thought she was just a girl. Well, guess what? She could do this.
Right.
And they focus on that and they forget to just write good stories or good characters.
Yeah.
My characters that I just give it to men who think that I'm not. It's like everybody's Coyote Ugly. It's like
Yeah, I see what
there's
you're saying.
5 girls in Coyote Ugly, and one of them's a singer-songwriter, and the rest of them are defined by the fact that they love to punch men or something.
Right.
And they work at a strip club.
Right.
It's just a bar
I know.
with wet T-shirt contests. So,
Right.
I don't know. I actually am kind of interested in this, and I'm going to keep an eye on it.
Okay. All right. It could be good.
Something that won't be good,
Yeah.
my opinion. Looks like Apple and their Apple Network or whatever they're calling it, they'll change the name 6 months in anyway,
Yeah.
wants to turn Terry Gilliam's Time Bandits into a TV series.
I don't feel like that's going to be very good.
Well,
with
it's going to
Apple
give
with the
work
helm.
to little person actors.
Okay.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
If they go that way,
Mm-hmm.
they'll probably just say everybody's normal size
Yeah.
just to piss everybody off.
Right.
And I think the idea of like these time bandits going through time and doing stuff, that's a nice weekly premise type thing.
That's true.
But Time Bandits is so weird and is just barely about those things. Like, it is so strange.
Yeah, it's Terry Gilliam. So
Yeah,
of
and I
course
don't know
it's
how
weird.
they'll capture that. It'll be very sanitized, normal version of that, I think.
Well, that's not Terry Gilliam's Time Bandits, though. So, I mean...
I know.
It tarnishes what it's about, I think.
I don't know if tarnishes is the word we're looking for.
All right. It changes it.
It unweirds.
Yeah.
It mundanes.
There you go.
That's probably not a verb. Okay, I think that's just about all the TV news that we've got. I wanted to get your comments really quick. I'm not sure. It came out in between things, I think. Or maybe
Okay.
I'm just forgetting what we've already talked about. But did we talk about the new Battle Angel Alita? Sorry, Alita Battle Angel. I don't know what that first thing was I said. This is a totally different thing. Did we talk about that new trailer at all?
I don't think we did talk about it at all.
Tell me your thoughts. I'm not going to set a timer, but in my head, I'll be counting down from 60.
I don't like the way they animated her, period. Her eyes are huge, in that huge anime way, but nobody else's eyes are that huge. I don't know, she looks like she's kicking butt.
I think the lady who's got the skinny legs and the blade arms, I think she's got a weirdo face too.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's a fleeting glance we get of her.
Yeah. And then the guy who has the robotic body and the face, his face is just normal.
Well, that's Ed Skrein. You don't want to mess up his pretty face.
Well, I feel bad for the actress who's playing Alita because she looks
Red
alien
carpet
and
photos.
weird. And
She'll be on Women's Health. And,
I guess.
Yeah.
I want it to be good. I just don't know that it is.
You don't know. Okay. Here's what I wanted to get at since we are into race now.
Oh, boy.
This is such a fun, light show. You don't like that Meshurhala, I can never say his name, Ali, is a bad guy.
Yes. Thank you. I did say that when we were watching the trailer. Why does the black guy have to be the bad guy?
Because it was created by
like it.
a Japanese man who was unaware of the vagaries of how you portray black people on screen. But bad guy is inaccurate because you're just getting a trailer. He's a crime boss actually in the comic, but he's an anti-hero kind of character.
Okay. I mean, that's better than just quote bad guy, but
yeah.
I mean, I think he's a good actor and everything. I just I guess I'd like to see him do something besides anti-hero.
He won an Oscar.
I know. All right. Maybe
I don't think that this is what Robert Rodriguez and James Cameron thought you'd be focusing on.
No, you're probably right.
What is Jennifer Connelly doing in this? No, look at the fighting. The robot's fighting.
Yeah.
I am almost 100% on board. One foot is
Really?
on and the other foot is off the ground as the pavement is moving under that foot. Yeah, and as far as the face goes, I'm in.
Really?
Yep, I always thought, I was weirded out in the first trailer. I thought, oh boy, this is going to be a hurdle to get over, but I bet I'll get used to it if I watch the film.
Okay.
And I've already gotten used to it. And it's a weird choice. It's a strong choice. The thing about strong choices is if that's what people are going to remember, and they're not going to remember all the amazing sci-fi kung fu robot action and your in-depth story, that is a great launching point for a whole franchise universe. If all they can see is just giant-eyed girl, then don't do it.
Right.
And maybe they should have not done it for that reason.
Yeah.
But the more I see it, the more I'm okay with it. The more that I think that they did this thing where I think they Evel Knievel jumped the Uncanny Valley.
Okay.
Because you know how you get trapped in the Uncanny Valley? This person is photorealistic, and yet the brain just refuses to accept it because
Yes.
our eyes and brain are human face detectors. They just went, forget it. We'll just hang a right, and we'll just drive alongside the valley. I know I said we jumped it, but
Okay.
they're just exploiting that to not try to convince you that she's real looking. You know?
Right.
And they're just going to stylize her like you would in a comic book. And
That's
so,
true.
Yeah. And it has the effect of making her face look like the way that she's drawn in the comic.
That's true.
But I don't think they did it solely for that reason. I think they did it for the reasons that I'm saying, to make her appear other and different.
That's true. And that's important to the story that she is.
It's important to the future of the story, but I'm not going to ruin anything.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ruin anything. I lied. That was our movie break. There is so much TV news.
Oh, no.
And we'll just blow through it real fast.
Okay.
Did you know that the Russo brothers are developing a TV series at Amazon?
Oh, really?
Yes.
What's it called?
We don't know.
Okay.
The announcement was basically the Russos are developing a TV show. It is described as a globe-spanning TV series.
Okay, well, that can mean any number of things.
I think it's going to be a show about the Harlem Globetrotters. That's what I think.
Okay,
But
you
they're
heard it
spies.
here first.
But they're spies.
Oh, all right.
Meadowlark Lemon will have a series of wigs.
Oh, my gosh.
Or no, is that... Sorry, Curly has the wigs. I'm the worst Globetrotters fan. But it's two more names than you knew.
Yes.
And they're fighting the evil Washington Generals
All right.
all over the world.
Okay.
That's my idea. I don't know if that's the way it's going to go or not. The Lord of the Rings show, which we've had a surprisingly small amount of information on for $1.5 billion deal.
Mm-hmm.
We finally have some information. Amazon has hired J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay to basically run the show.
Okay.
To head write and run their show. Or series of shows. We don't know what the property is going to take, what form it's going to take. Never heard of them? Well, that's because Star Trek 4 hasn't come out yet. They are the writers of Star Trek 4.
Okay. Well, hopefully Star Trek 4 is good.
Now that's a sell. That's a big pitch.
Yep.
There, right?
Mm-hmm.
They must have had a great idea.
Yeah.
They must be the biggest Lord of the Rings fans of all time and be able to fiercely communicate that to a bunch of guys in suits, but it's more just a polo, maybe in a blazer, sort of relaxed.
Right.
Or maybe it's athleisure. You're on the way to the gym, so you got like an athletic top. And make this meeting quick, and then you just go right to your gym appointment because these guys are just telling you the story of Beren and Luthien, and they're describing the Silmarils, and like, come on,
Yeah.
what is this?
Yeah,
right?
I
What's
know.
going on here?
I know.
How is this a thing?
I have no idea.
You know how I feel about Guillermo del Toro. This is the point where if Guillermo last minute stepped in and went, "I will do it,"
Yeah.
I would have been like, let him do it. Because how can two guys, they got to be whiz kids, right?
Yeah, they have to be.
Or at least they've convinced everybody they're whiz kids.
Yeah. They've done some close-up magic for everybody.
No, that's not my card. Now picks up gym bag. If you'll forgive me, I need to look in your gym bag. Zip. Oh my God. The other guy stands up out of his gym bag holding the card. That's probably what it is. God. Did we talk about, we haven't talked about this at all. Matthew Weiner. I'm going to err on the side of, come on.
Yeah, okay.
But I've heard that it might
That's
be
fine.
Weiner. Let's just say Matthew Weiner. The creator of Mad Men and, of
Yes.
course, a Sopranos alum, is working on a new show. And it's got a date now. It's going to be on Amazon. You're
Okay.
Matthew Weiner. You walk off of the Mad Men.
Yep.
Lose the. Just Mad Men. You walk off of that, and basically you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
If
Carte
you can,
blanche.
Yes. For instance, if your cat's in a tree, you can build a ladder out of your Emmys to easily get up to where the cat
Right.
is, get him down.
Right.
So what do? Well, what Matthew Weiner does is he does a show called The Romanovs that's set, as far as I understand, it's an anthology show set in the modern day about people who are or believe they are descended from the famous Romanovs dynasty of Russia.
That's pretty out there.
What?
Yeah.
So that's what they're doing. It's coming out October 12th on Amazon Prime, and it is featuring guest stars like Diane Lane, Aaron Eckhart, Isabel Huppert, Corey Stoll, Amanda Peet.
Okay.
It is a star-studded bouquet.
All
It
right.
is a night of stars. And over 14 people who are on Mad Men are also in it.
Okay.
So, guy knows who he likes to work with.
All right. Did they name Black Widow Natasha Romanoff to be reminiscent of the Romanovs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Don Heck, probably that's the only Russian name that he knew. Or, I mean, he knew Khrushchev, but he's like, that's not going to work. So
Right.
we need like a romantic sort of Russian name.
And Romanov hit the spot.
Yeah, and he restrained himself from calling her Anastasia Romanova.
Yeah.
He called her Natalia instead. So,
Yeah. Okay.
Close still, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Little
close.
babushka.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, good stuff there.
Okay.
Peter Dinklage is going to star in a Rumpelstiltskin movie. Should I just keep going, or do I stop
Oh my
right there?
God. Why?
Well, it's a Sony picture.
I guess it's.
Of course it is.
Oh. I mean, I guess it's a
Good idea, bad idea.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. It sounds horrible.
It sounds horrible to me. I mean, Rumpelstiltskin is a horrible character, but juicy,
Is this like Dustin
Juicy.
Hoffman playing Shylock?
maybe.
Don't say maybe. Wait, is that terrible or is that insightful?
I don't know.
Let's play. Is that terrible or is that insightful? Na, 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 na. You're saying that he's a bad example for little people.
Well, he's
Little people are taking
he's
it on this
evil.
show. I don't.
He's evil.
I got no problem. Yeah, he is evil.
He steals little children from their families.
Little babies.
Well, babies. Yeah,
Is that what he does?
pretty sure.
I thought he spun things into gold.
Yeah, he does spin things into gold, but he'll like take your firstborn child.
What is it with fairy tale villains and they're taking children?
I know.
There's a movie there on the other side of the looking glass, if you will, where you go back to villain world, and their birth rate is plummeted. They got a real population problem.
So they're stealing other people's babies
Yeah,
because
they're
of
like-
the population problem.
It's like, well, it's already been done. It's called Monsters Inc. But the monsters aren't bad guys. They
Right.
have a role to play too.
Right.
They scare you. You give them the screams. It's okay. Never mind. I just invented Monsters Inc. But I did it independently.
Yes, you did.
So take that, Lassiter. Lock and Key. Remember Lock and Key?
Yes.
Think we're on the third or fourth time around for this
I
being
think
the
we
show.
are, too.
And they have struck out a couple times. I think there have been 2 full pilots filmed that have been rejected at Fox, amongst other outlets. Well, the kid that never said no to nothing has picked them up for a 10-episode run.
Oh, Netflix. Okay. Gotcha.
I will gladly pay you Tuesday for a 12-episode run today.
Yeah.
Anyway, nobody wants this show. I mean, Joe Hill wants this show.
Yeah.
For sure. So anyway, yeah, it's going to be on Netflix. I hate 90% of shows on Netflix. They're just not good. Mm-hmm. But this is right up their alley. Supernatural horror.
Yep.
Yeah, I think this is going to kill on Netflix.
I think it's going to go over really well with like along the lines of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. Let's talk real fast. Looks like Mission Impossible is pulling off its mission. It has succeeded. It's making about $62 million domestically this weekend, which is the biggest opening for the franchise. Now, we get used to talking about Dawns of Justices and Wars of Infinity.
Yep.
And maybe I'm a little skewed in terms of what a box office should be, but 60 plus million does not seem like a lot of money.
No, it doesn't.
But I guess it is.
That's
what a lot of money used to be.
Yeah.
So when I heard that the 6th movie made 60-something million, and that's the best they've ever done, I'm like, why have they made so many of these?
I don't know. That's a good question.
It's Universal, right?
I
It's because it's
so.
Universal, and I don't know. You got all that Transformer money.
Yeah,
So
and
you're
Tom
like-
Cruise is like, hey, I got my dance card open.
Tom Cruise wants to keep doing them.
Yep.
He's on time. He brings it in under budget.
Yep.
There's no problems on the set.
Right.
Just keep making them.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're right.
What a great reason to have an ongoing film series. But yeah, apparently the reviews are pretty good for this one, and it is doing pretty well
Okay.
for it.
All right.
Bad news. It's
Uh-oh.
at number 1. Teen Titans Go at number 5.
Ooh.
Brought in about $10 million. Now, that's as much as it cost.
Okay.
And I track kids' movies, I don't know. I mean, you're always going to need to take the kids to see something, right?
Yeah, for
so
sure.
it's all gravy from here, and it'll probably stick around for a while.
Yeah, that's true.
Although maybe not, because when we went to the multiplex, it was in, like, the theater in the back.
Yeah, it was way back
Like,
there.
they have to let you out of the building into a smaller building, and then you go into the bathroom, and it's projected on the wall. Like, this was
Right.
not, like, a big debut for it, which is
no,
too bad.
that's true.
Is it organic to just talk about our review right now?
Yeah, we can do that.
It's going to throw everything off, but let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
When there's
Everybody has a superhero movie these days.
That's right.
But not the Teen Titans.
No.
And trying to get one,
Yep.
amongst other horrific, horrible acts,
I know.
make up the action of Teen Titans Go to the Movies.
Yes.
Starring the Teen Titans.
Yes.
I guess their voice actors deserve recognition.
Yeah.
Greg Sipes as Beast Boy, Scott Menville as Robin, Carrie Payton as Cyborg, Tara Strong as Raven, and Hayden Walsh as Starfire, with the additions of Will Arnett as Slade. Kristen Bell also joins the cast as Jade Wilson, and Michael Bolton plays a musical tiger
I can't believe it was actually
that
Michael Bolton.
sings a song
That makes it so
about
much
being
better.
upbeat. It is the new jam, and there's also some celebrity cameos of a sort in this. I bet you didn't know that Nicolas Cage was the voice of Superman.
I did not know that.
We
No.
actually talked about it on the show, but I forgot about it too. Yes, he was the voice of Superman, of course, the Justice League, and pretty much not all, but many, many, many characters appear in this, similar to Lego Batman.
Yep.
It's a celebration in a lot of ways of the DC universe. The actress / singer Halsey plays Wonder Woman.
Okay.
Jimmy Kimmel is the voice of Batman, although Batman doesn't really talk.
He doesn't really talk.
So maybe there's just grunts or something like
Yeah,
that.
I
I'm not
can
really
see the
sure
grunts.
how that works. Patton Oswalt is the voice of the Atom. And then also Will Wheaton is the voice of the Flash.
Okay.
Oh, and of course, appearing as himself, Stan Lee.
Yes.
I've already sort of I've summarized. Give us a synopsis of Teen Titans Go to the Movies.
Well, the Teen Titans want a movie made about them, especially Robin. Robin really, really, really wants it. He wants it super bad. And they go to the movies. It's a Batman premiere film, and
I think it's called like Another Batman or something.
something like that. And they're talking about like next summer it'll be his best friend. You know, like they kept saying like who's going to be in the movie, and it's like Alfred. You know,
He's
and
cleaning
then
up this town.
yes. And then next summer, the Batmobile.
Right.
And then I think it was like the Bat Belt, the utility
belt, the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh man, I'm sorry." And he even gets up there and says, "Oh, this is going to be about me." And then everybody starts laughing at him. And
Yeah.
it's Bad News Bears.
Yeah. That sends him on a quest.
Yes.
To get a movie made.
Yes. And they figure in order to have a movie made, you have to have an arch nemesis whose name is really fun to say. So later on, they run into Slade. And they decide he could be their arch nemesis.
Yes.
And
Of course, perennial Titans nemesis, Slade.
Yes.
Who I guess has never been on Teen Titans Go
I guess.
to this point because
I
they don't know who he
guess.
is.
I guess not.
He was on the original Teen Titans show because
Okay.
they did, the Satan contract or the Judas contract or whatever it was.
Sure.
They did that storyline, but yeah, so he's introduced in here. Here's my question: is Starro the Conqueror too weird for everybody?
Maybe.
Because how come
He
they
just sounds
nobody's
weird.
fighting Starro the Conqueror?
I don't
That
know.
sounds good to say.
That's true.
Starro. Sorry, continue. Or is there anything else to say?
There's
Hijinks
not
and
really
Sue.
hijinks ensue. They try to get
Well, we
Jade
don't wanna ruin
Wilson to
Yeah, Jade Wilson
get
is the hot
get
comic
the
book
movie
director. Yeah,
made out for them. Yeah. So that's the gist of it, I think.
and it goes on for 90 minutes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's it. Let's talk our general impressions and give our review, and then we can get into some spoiler talk.
Okay, sounds good.
So, what'd you think?
I thought it was fun. I liked the music, especially like the upbeat song that Michael Bolton sings on.
Yeah.
And it ends in such a terrible
Well, yeah,
way.
we'll talk about it later.
Okay. But that was really great. They had a lot of just fun songs, like Robin's movie song was kind of fun and
Yeah.
everything. And then they had the Back to the Future theme when they were going to use their cycles. And they even at one point when they're on the lot say, "Oh, there's the water tower. That's where the Animaniacs live."
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah.
that was pretty fun.
I thought it was good too. I'm somebody who, we go in nerd circles, a lot of love out there for the Young Justice, a lot of love for the original Teen Titans. I feel like fans our age hate Teen Titans Go.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about this on our last show. I don't love it. Like, I don't track it down. I only ever seem to see it when I'm
in a hotel room.
in a hotel when I'm traveling.
Yeah.
But I always, if I'm heading out to an event or brunch or something from the hotel, I'm always late when that Teen Titans Go comes on. I always sit down and watch, the whole thing. It's usually like 2 10-minute episodes.
Yeah.
Do people just not understand that this is a comedy show?
Yeah.
It's a partially deconstructionist of the DC universe, and it's also just, absurd comedy. It's almost a Ren and Stimpy-esque sort of slapstick, ridiculous kind of thing with some dark humor, which gets really dark in this movie.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what people's problem is.
I don't know what it is either. Maybe that it's aimed more towards kids.
But kids aren't going to get a 10-minute long pastiche of Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, I know.
Where Robin is making everything out of coconuts.
Right.
They're not going to get that.
No. They're just going to think it's funny that they're eating all these coconuts.
Right, but that's the 2 levels that you talked about before.
Exactly. Yeah.
Screw you! This sucks! So anyway, what did you think of Will Arnett stepping into another gravelly voiced role in less than 12 months?
I thought he did a good job.
It was a little over 12 months, 18 months.
Yeah. I thought he did a good job. I didn't realize it was Will Arnett until I think the end of the film.
Okay.
So I didn't recognize his voice. So he's doing 2 different kinds of gravelly voices, I guess.
This guy's got range.
Yes.
And one's a chunkier gravel, one's a finer gravel.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So I think he did a great job. I think he was a good bad guy.
Yeah.
So
I liked as well that it wasn't that he challenged that. Okay, so the whole thing is they're kind of their own worst enemy is in that they don't take anything seriously.
Yes.
Even the other heroes look down on them as oh, well, you guys aren't real.
You're goofballs.
You're fun. Yeah, but you're not real superheroes.
Right.
And he kind of continues that, although I think he kind of unconsciously encourages them to become real heroes because you think that he would also not take them very seriously.
Yeah, right.
And they fix that because there's this MacGuffin that they have that he needs from them. So as far as that goes, and again, kids movie, I felt like the whole journey of Robin and the other heroes wasn't quite as effective as it really could have been.
Okay.
But, they hit the right beats. And I also like the fact that he wasn't impaling Robin on his swords or something like that. It's a kid's thing, so they can't do that. So they come up with mind manipulation.
Yes.
Oh, you've got something on your shirt. Oh, you should look at it. Some of which were beaten into the ground in a good way.
Right.
And some of which were really, really subtle, I thought. Yeah, this movie never meant a joke that it wouldn't just beat into the ground.
Right.
Until you come out on the other side of the planet and it's funny again.
Right.
And that worked most of the time. There were some gags that were like, all right, we get it. They pooped in a fake toilet.
Yeah,
we understand.
Exactly.
Rating, would you recommend this?
Yeah, I absolutely would recommend it. I think I'll give it a 4 out of 5 stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would too. I think that this is what DC needs to do, and I think that hopefully they are starting to figure out in what they've got in terms of their properties. Like Marvel kind of twigged to this a while ago. They haven't put a huge emphasis on it, but you've got these crazy worlds. Not every Captain America story has to be some life-changing thing from here on out. You can just do, say, Superhero Squad, for instance.
Right.
It's a fun show. We traffic on the fact that we know that Cap is upstanding and Black Widow is petulant or whatever, and we just kind of, the Punisher is when they meet the Punisher in Superhero Squad, and he picks him up in his van, and he's just like, "I'm gonna wash the scum off the streets," and they're like, "Oh, you can just let us out here, it's fine." You play off the fun, stupid aspects of your characters.
Yes,
and they're starting to get that more, and they're gonna need to turn their things into a brand. It isn't just we've got to like Harry Potter. Every single word that we write about Harry Potter is canon, and it's got to continue to develop the story.
Right.
And even in the Fantastic Beasts, there's a prophecy about a kid that will one day yada yada yada. And even in the Cursed Child, where remember that Harry Potter, he was so great.
Yep.
But if your character is a commodity, which this is very cynical, but is a doll on a shelf,
Yep.
then we should get it. And it works for Superman. It works for Batman. You can have a Batman 66. You can have a Batman Beyond. You can have a Batman, of the future. I just said Batman Beyond, but
Right.
Dark and Gritty Batman,
Yep.
Swear to Me, or also a lighter Batman.
Yep.
The more that they get that and more that they realize that all these characters have facets, that they can exploit. Again, cynical, but
Yep.
you're just trying to provide entertainment for people. The better. And so that's why I think that this is great. I've laughed out loud and scared some kids in the theater more than once. It's not perfect. It's got its problems, but it is. If you want to see more stuff like this, you got to see this movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was perfect. It was the perfect length. Because it wasn't like 65 minutes like a lot of cartoons that are stretched into a full film.
Right.
But it didn't go on forever.
No, it didn't.
It was perfect. All right, yeah. So to see it. Okay,
Yeah.
let's talk some spoilers.
All right.
That poor tiger.
I know.
His
dad's a cop.
I think his dad's a cop. Let's get out of here. Wow.
I know.
So after praising the movie, I have to ask, who is this for?
I know.
Seriously.
It gets dark in places.
Yes, extremely.
Yes.
There's
For a fluffy cotton candy cartoon, it gets really dark.
Like an Austin Powers, like a movie that is a comedic premise, but you're going to need to fill it out a little bit. It's like a sketch film, where we kind of go from sketch to sketch.
Yes.
Now he's drowning Patty O'Houlihan in the toilet.
Yeah.
What did you eat?
Right.
That's what this film is. And so there's like a segment where they're like, all right, well, if there's no superheroes, then we're the superheroes, which
Yes.
is like, that's a superhero villain. That's a villain origin.
You're absolutely right.
But it doesn't matter because there is no morality tied to their actions. They run over a tiger and just leave him dying in the desert.
I know.
And so they go and they
With his
foil
guitar.
they save Krypton, which is positive.
Right.
So there's no Superman. And they save Batman's parents. And as they're doing this, and then they also drowned Aquaman, which I thought was weird. It's the funniest movie I've seen this year where they drowned a baby.
Yeah.
And they taunt, they tease Wonder Woman.
They take her lasso
They bully
away.
Wonder Woman into not being Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we're half and half. But then as they were going through the thing, I'm thinking, they're going to have to reverse all this stuff. And it's going to be awful.
Yep.
And so they do. They go back in time again. Alan Silvestri's playing, the music's coming through.
Yep.
And they do all and they save the worst for last.
Yes, they do.
they take Bruce Wayne's parents, and Robin snaps a pearl necklace on Martha Wayne, and they shove him in an alley.
I know.
And I was like, that's horrible. But by that little grace note, and also saving it for the final button on the sequence, they get what they're doing.
Yeah.
They know that this is dank. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing. But my question is, how is this for children?
I know.
Like, I would be uncomfortable taking my non-existent kid to this film.
Yeah.
If he was 10 or 11, like my
Right.
kid would already be into dark humor at that point. But
Right.
like, a 5-year-old's like, what just happened?
What happened, Mommy?
Well, yeah, I'm not your mommy, kid. So the film is filled with stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And in fact, I thought it actually could have gone farther.
Oh my gosh.
There were a couple places where I was like, whoa. But I thought, yeah, if that's what they want to do, they missed a lot of chances. I mean, like, the challenges of the unknown take a kicking in this.
Yeah, they do.
for some reason.
Because they're just so kickable, I think.
Well, I was thinking about it. Also, we want to talk about cynicism. This is a film, or I don't think it's going to be a franchise, but this is I know there's a lot of different. WB is a big company. There's a lot of teams working on stuff. Mm-hmm. But this is like an example of WB finally just giving up and going, look, this isn't the Snyderverse. We don't feel the need to counter-program against Marvel's kind of snarky stuff to deliver you like this epic but dark kind of thing. Do you bleed?
Right.
This is just a funny movie. We're going to reference Deadpool. We're going to talk about
Yes.
Spider-Man. Like, we're going to just... Stan Lee is going to make a cameo.
I know.
And also go, hey, I'm doing a cameo.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, it's cynicism, but it's like a creative cynicism where they're like, look, what are we going to try to tell you that we're the only superheroes in the world?
Right.
Let's just have fun with it. Mm-hmm. Which is a good idea.
Yeah.
Unless it's a bad idea.
Oh. You think it's a bad idea?
Well, the old thing is, the old game is to pretend like you're the only thing that exists. You know what I mean?
I suppose.
But I did think it was weird. This is my crackpot theory that Stan Lee is very prominently featured in this film. The Challengers of the Unknown take a real beating in this film. And also, I was looking around. I don't think there's any other Kirby characters. There's no new gods. You know, any DC characters that Kirby sort of had a hand in, I don't see in this film.
No.
So, Stan Lee 1, Kirby 0 as far as these movies go.
I guess so.
Other than that, like, do you think the ancillary, well, they're not, they're the main characters, but the other characters of the DC Universe were well used?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they meet Superman, Wonder Woman, and Green Lantern early on in the
Why
film.
were they building a doomsday machine before they were brainwashed?
That's a good question.
Is it because they thought that it was the streaming service
It
or whatever?
must have been.
Okay, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Why do... Slade makes a great point at the end of the film that I was wondering, which is, oh, you superheroes are so interested in making movies. They're not fighting crime anymore.
Right.
Why would the heroes do that? Did you think that the movie was making commentary? It's like, careful. Was it making commentary on how there's too many superhero films?
I think maybe it was in a way.
Wasn't that like taking a poop at your favorite restaurant?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, because, at the beginning they were talking about how we all have superhero movies and you guys don't. And it's true, and they got a little joke in about Green Lantern, of course.
Yeah, enough.
Yeah.
No more Green Lantern jokes.
I agree.
We get it.
Yeah.
The movie wasn't good.
No.
Poor guy.
I know.
Every time you tell a Green Lantern joke, we're 6 months out from a good Green Lantern movie.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So someday there'll be a good Green Lantern movie.
Someday.
Yeah.
So what did you think, and this is I'm so good at this. This is a good lead in to us talking about DC animation. What did you think about the post-credit scene? The post-credit scene, I don't know why you're listening if you haven't seen it, because this is a lot of spoilers.
Spoilers, yeah.
But I guess we'll fill people in. We get a break-in transmission.
Yeah.
Where somebody says, we found a way to come back.
Yeah.
And we see the 5 Titans in their original Teen Titans show animation.
Yeah. So
Is this movie the swan song pinnacle of Teen Titans Go? Is Teen Titans Go done?
I hope not. I
me too.
actually like Teen Titans Go.
Yeah, this movie made me like Teen Titans Go more than I like it already.
Yeah, I know. So I hope not. I mean, maybe there's a way that they can do both versions of the Teen Titans, and that will be fine. But I don't know.
Seems unlikely.
It does seem unlikely.
It says continued on the internet or whatever.
Yeah.
So I assume this means a season 6 of original Teen Titans.
The original Teen Titans, yes. I assume that's what it means as well.
And I assume that it'll be on
streaming service.
So will that compete with Young Justice? Yes, the answer is yes.
Yeah, probably.
Yes, it absolutely will.
Yeah.
So what was the point?
And also the Teen Titans show, the live-action Teen Titans show.
Nah, nothing's going to compete with that. I don't know if that can compete. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
We can't judge it off of one trailer that was designed to make us like it.
It looks so bad.
It doesn't look great.
It looks like super campy, but not realizing that it is campy. So.
Oh, no. Camp is not the word I would use.
No?
No, it's...
Well, it's dark and gritty.
No, it thinks it's dark and gritty.
Yeah.
It's like the goth kid in your junior high.
Oh, boy.
Is that not good?
No, I mean, that's okay.
I like The Cure too, but come on, man.
Yeah, I know.
Boy. Well, speaking of Young Justice, a lot of people are looking forward to the return of Young Justice, subtitled Outsiders, on the DC streaming network. Of course, I'm assuming referencing the superhero team, the Outsiders.
Right.
Which is not the Titans really, but did have Nightwing on it for a while.
Okay.
So that's kind of cool. And we talked to somebody who is doing the music for the new season of Young Justice and did music for the old seasons of Young Justice as well. Kristopher Carter, we talked to him at Convergence of this year, and here's our talk. How many years have you been coming to Convergence?
This is actually my second time.
Oh, this is second. Okay.
Yeah, last year when I was a guest of honor was my first time. And I don't know, Minneapolis showed me such a great time and we're such great hosts. So like, man, I definitely got to come back again. And so there was an opportunity to work with Greg Weisman on his radio play.
Yeah.
And I also have just finished my first solo EP. And I'm releasing it. It's actually dropping tomorrow.
Okay.
And I thought that it'd be fun to come to Convergence and have them kind of a sneak peek of it.
Tell us more about the KR Protocol.
Well, I have been writing music for other people as a film composer for 20-something years, which means I started when I was probably 5 years old. I can't
that's
be that old.
Right. Yeah, that's what it seems like.
But I finally decided, I really wanted to find a way to express emotions and express storytelling that I just don't get to do when it's somebody else's story. But I love superheroes, and the KR is actually like Krypton. It's a chemical symbol of Krypton, and so there's definitely an overt nod to my work and my love of superheroes.
Sure.
In this, and so the first EP is more a collection of 4 songs that are just kind of songs that I wanted to tell, but I'm hoping to do actually a series of EPs that are based on different groups of superheroes. Like,
oh, okay, great.
One of the songs on the EP is called Legion,
okay,
and I totally intended the EP to be about the Legion of superheroes.
Sure.
And after I did this Legion, I had 3 other songs that had nothing to do with the Legion of superheroes. I thought, well, we'll do that another time.
Yeah. What you should do is you should have a Legion track. Then a couple years later, do another Legion track, and the people who like the first Legion track will say the new Legion track is no good. And then you can do
That's the way
a
it goes.
succession of those things. Yeah, I have a lot of friends that are into Legion of superheroes, and every time they bring it back, they're like, it's not as good as it used to be.
That's so funny. I mean, I worked on the Legion of Superheroes TV show that James Tucker produced a couple years ago, and that was my first. Working on all these scores has actually been my first exposure to a lot of superheroes.
Oh, neat.
I didn't really read comics growing up. I watched movies, live action movies. But once I started working on Batman the Animated Series, I was like, wow, there's so much deep stories to get into in the lore, and so over time I've kind of become a huge fan of all the different shows, and Legion especially was so out of the box. But James Tucker likes to do those kinds of out of the box things. And when we did Batman the Brave and the Bold, that also being a team up of all these strange superheroes you never heard of before, but are really big in the lore. He's such a scholar of comics.
Yeah, that's so cool that you get to work and yet be exposed to different things.
And I've become. I think one of the cool things about working on the shows and as a fan, you get to see it first.
Right. Yeah.
And I can't tell anybody, but it's like, ooh, I get to see the next episode.
You have to keep mum about. Trust me, you're gonna like it. Yeah.
Can I tell you one thing about Legion?
Sure.
Song. I also. I mean, I know a lot of people that work in the animation industry. Legion is actually sung by Josh Keaton, who is a very well-known voice actor. He did Spectacular Spider-Man. He was Peter Parker there.
Oh, sure.
He's Shiro in the new DreamWorks series. I mean, he's a pretty successful voice actor, and he's a phenomenal singer. And when I heard him sing, I'm just like, oh, man, I hope I can have something we can collaborate on someday, and it worked out on Legion.
Yeah,
so.
That's great that like so many voice actors, have so many talents in that way. I remember the episode of... what was it, Justice League, where Kevin Conroy as Batman has to sing.
All right.
And you're like, wow, this guy can sing too.
We were all kind of surprised.
Very talented. A lot of people are excited that Pinar Toprak is going to be composing Captain Marvel, and I've heard a lot of articles say, like, that's the first woman to compose for a superhero thing, and it's like, not exactly. Shirley Walker's been composing for a long time for Batman and that sort of thing.
Yeah, the distinction I think people are making is it's the first
that it's a feature?
blockbuster feature or whatever, because Shirley actually was the first woman composer to score a film in Hollywood, and that was Memoirs of an Invisible Man.
Right.
And of course she did Turbulence, and she did all the Final Destination movies. So but Pinar is certainly becoming a very high-profile woman composer to do a big film, and I wish her all the best. She's a talented composer; she'll do great with it. But also, my partner, I work with 2 other composers on the animated stuff, Michael McQuiston and Lolita Ritmanis, who is another woman who's been doing superhero scores for many, many, many years.
Yes.
And actually, Lolita is also the president of the Alliance for Women Film Composers, which is a new group and their whole idea is to try and raise the profile of women working as composers in the industry, because especially, I think across all filmmaking, there's been a movement towards trying to be more inclusive to genders and races and everything else, and so. I am thrilled that women composers are finally getting their due, because it has been kind of a man's world for many, many years.
Really? Okay.
So it's great they're getting their attention now, totally deserving of it.
Yeah.
But I'm also looking ahead to the time when it's not even a big deal anymore that you have a woman composer doing this.
Sure,
or that.
absolutely, yeah.
And I think we'll get there.
Yeah, and now that I think John Williams has said that he's going to hang it up for Star Wars, like that would be an opportunity to maybe have a female composer come in and do Star Wars.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
But to which I have to say, no, I want Johnny, just keep, I don't care.
Yeah.
I know you're 80s, 86 or whatever it is.
Right.
Come on, just one more film.
You don't have to conduct them, just compose them. Yeah. People are very excited about the return of Young Justice. Can you talk about working on that?
I can.
If you can.
Yes. They Brandon Vietti and Greg Weisman, the producers, pretty much brought the band back together.
Right.
It's been many years, but they have a lot of the same artists and the same actors. And in the inimitable style of Greg Weisman, the stories are very deep. And there's several oh my god moments. I can't believe you just did that. Of which I can say none of those, but I know that when I watch these new shows, we get to the end and my jaw hits the floor and I have to look at Greg like, you did not just do that.
That really happened.
But yeah, it's fantastic. The stories are definitely an evolution of the first 2 seasons. We kind of what people saw at the end of the second season as a cliffhanger with Vandal Savage and Darkseid. I can definitely say that they're there and they're continuing their story.
Great.
And but as always, there's a lot of moving parts. Greg just comes up with these wonderfully complex stories and all these tons of characters, and somehow always manages to have them do something.
Yeah.
Musically, Michael and Lolita and I are continuing what we did, where it's more the style was very. Like ambient electronic. It's not so much. We saved the orchestra in Young Justice for the Justice League. It's we had the traditional instruments being for the adult superheroes, and the more, the covert black ops that the kids were doing. That was more of a cooler ambient electronic sound. So there's lots of percussion and lots of drum machines, and we're having a good time with that.
That's neat. We're talking this year about guilty pleasures a lot on the show. I was at a panel this year about movies that you enjoy, but you kind of feel bad a little bit for enjoying them. Do you have any guilty pleasures, things that you watch but you'd be sort of embarrassed to tell somebody else about?
I'm the worst person to work in the film industry because I enjoy film so much as an escapism.
Sure.
My craft goes completely out the window.
Okay.
And even if it's a pretty awful movie, I just enjoy the experience of sitting in the theater.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So it's hard for me to call anything I see a guilty pleasure, even if it's kind of a bad movie, because I just enjoy watching the film so much.
Sure, yeah.
And, my other filmmaker friends are like, oh, well, this character beat, they missed that. I'm like, just enjoy the film,
I'm being taken away on a ride here. What about musically? Are there any artists or musicians or even composers that you listen to and think, my colleagues wouldn't think that this is great, but I kind of like this?
That's all. Gosh, I'm not giving you a lot of bones.
No,
here.
that's fine.
And my problem is of answering that is that I feel that everybody who's a musician has something that they want to say.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not they say it in a way that appeals to a broad spectrum of people,
sure,
that's whatever. But they're saying what they want to say, and so it's really hard for me to say, yeah, I didn't really like that because I love music. I love hearing artists express themselves.
Sure, yeah. For me, it would be like I think the Black Eyed Peas are not exactly in vogue anymore, but like when a Black Eyed Peas jam comes on, I kind of look left and look right, and I'm like, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm enjoying this.
They're fun.
You've been doing panels. You've been doing performances here. You have anything else at the con that you've got going on today?
Today, no, I'm done.
Oh,
I actually
great.
can just enjoy. But it was Really exciting to premiere part of my album at the Friday Night Rave.
Sure.
I also debuted a brand new set of like superhero remixes. So, it's stuff that people wouldn't normally think to dance to.
Yeah.
Like, Hans Zimmer's Wonder Woman theme from Justice League.
Okay, cool.
But I actually took that music and then added more club beats underneath it.
Okay, cool.
I did that, and Mombasa from Inception, one of the big action scenes in Inception.
Okay, sure.
So I think there's a sense of, wait, we're dancing to this?
Yeah, yeah.
I just saw the new Incredibles movie.
Oh, great, yeah.
And they had
What'd you think?
Oh my God, I'm such a fan.
Yeah,
I
it
love
was
that
good.
movie. I love the first one, and I love the second one a lot.
Yeah.
They created a very Wonder Woman-esque theme for Elastigirl for her old show, and I found they released that on the soundtrack, so that worked its way into the set.
And that's Michael Giacchino, right?
Yes, Michael Giacchino wrote the music for that and the songs, and it was obviously a nod to the disco Wonder Woman theme.
Oh, okay.
So I went straight from Elastigirl into Wonder Woman.
Okay, cool.
Everyone was dancing for that.
That's great.
And then last night, I actually had a listening party where I played the EP, the KR Protocol EP in full, and answered questions and kind of talked about the genesis of it. And so it was really fun to give a complete preview, because it's coming out tomorrow. So
Sure.
Convergence really got to hear stuff that nobody else has heard yet.
Yeah, exclusive. Where can people find that?
It's being released through CD Baby, and so CD Baby actually has distribution agreements with Amazon and
Okay.
iTunes,
Okay, cool.
and it's going to be on Spotify. They put it everywhere, basically. So
great.
anywhere you would normally find or listen to or stream music, it will be there. The KR Protocol.
KR Protocol.
And the album is called Activate.
Activate.
Activate the protocol.
Activate your digital media player to listen
Starting
to it.
tomorrow, Monday, July 9th.
Okay, great. And where can people find you online?
My website, thekrprotocol.com for the music project. My two partners, Michael McQuistion and Lolita Hermanis, and I, our kind of collective group for doing the superhero cartoons is called Dynamic Music Partners.
Dynamic Music Partners.
And Dynamic Music Partners is .com. That's our website. We have a Facebook page. I'm on also Instagram, Uta Deer Official.
Uta Deer.
On Instagram.
Okay.
And that's pretty much or Twitter. You can find me. I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining us today. I
Thanks
hope
for
you
having me.
come back in future years.
I hope so too. This is a great con, very wonderful town, and I'm ready to come back and see you guys again. Thanks.
Well, thanks. So glad to get a chance to sit down and talk with Kris in person. He was great to talk to. We talked to him last year, right after Convergence, 2017, on the phone about his work and about the upcoming, at that time, Batman and Harley Quinn film. But yeah, I was glad that we were able to sit down with him.
Yeah, it was great. It's always positive when somebody has decided to come back to the show.
Yeah.
After being guest of honor and everything. And it's refreshing, and it kind of reminds me of like how you discovered the show.
How I discovered the show?
Or how I discovered the show.
Oh.
I don't even
Well, back when we were
remember.
guests of honor, it was all right. But then I came back, and that's when it really started to grow on me.
Right. No, I remember the first year that we went, just thinking, why haven't I gone to this before? This is so much fun, and I really enjoy it.
Once we got in.
Yeah, it was a long line to get our badges that year.
Yeah, everybody remembers that year.
Yep.
I think it was 5 hours we waited for the badges.
It was a really long time.
So maybe we're just, in fact, I know that we are stupidly long suffering. Is it like chickens or turkeys? Turkeys will drown if it's raining.
Yeah,
if they look up for too long.
Look up and
I'm not
have
saying
their
we
mouth open.
knew some amazing experience was going to happen. Maybe we were so dehydrated and exhausted by the experience that we were in the right, like a vision quest, we were in the right mindset to be turned on by something. But yeah, the fact that we made it through that gigantic line and wait time to get our badges and then walked in and had a great time.
Yeah.
You're hooked.
Yeah,
After
absolutely.
that, you just have to come back again and again.
Yeah.
That
like
or
we did.
meeting Caitlin Blackwood. That'll really do it. She's got to be 11 feet tall by now.
Oh, I'm sure. She was like taller than me already, I think, in that when I picture.
She's still acting?
I have no idea. I haven't seen her in anything.
Why are we talking about her?
I don't know. Doctor Who, everybody.
Does Karen Gillan need a stunt double? Now I know that I won't try to do it. I know that you've played the young me in the past. Now you can play the same age me.
Right,
but
exactly.
Just the one that's going to get in this car wreck. All right, Katie, get out there.
Somehow I don't think that she would go for
Make
that.
the Blackwoods proud.
Oh my goodness.
But anyway, yeah, really great to talk to Kris, and hope to talk to him again at future shows or just in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about DC animated films.
Let's.
What's your history with the DC animated universe?
Well, I've watched all of the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Seen a couple of the films. I saw a couple more films for the show. I really like the DC universe, especially I've always loved Batman. So gotta say he has a special place in my heart.
Yeah, mine is there from the beginning. Watched the Max Fleischer cartoon. Oh, I see what you're saying. We're just going to start from the Dini Timm verse here,
I guess.
but I do love the Fleischer cartoons.
Okay.
And the Super Friends show. But yeah, I remember when I heard that a Batman show was coming out. Mm-hmm. I thought, great, we'll see how this is. This is, of course, I'm sure that the show must have gotten greenlit because of the Tim Burton movies.
Probably.
And then, this cartoon show comes out, and we all know this. It's exactly what you want from a Batman, at least at that time. Now we want him to ask people if they bleed or not.
Right.
But, yeah, and everything about it, and it was the perfect time, the 90s was the perfect time for like a 40s, 50s sort of throwback aesthetic. Mm-hmm. They have cell phones, but they drive Studebakers?
Right.
What year is it? And just that aspect of it. And then I remember also some of these episodes were on prime time. They showed this cartoon show for kids on prime time TV. Mm-hmm. So it was a really big deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then that grew into the Superman show, same team, which I didn't watch a lot of.
Okay.
And I think it was just where I was in my life, because at that point I was going to college and moving around, and so it was hard to follow a schedule and sort of catch something in those days before being able to just pluck it out of the digital air.
Right.
But also I think maybe I just didn't want to watch the Superman show.
Okay.
Because I was a Batman guy.
All right. Sure.
Yeah, and then of course Justice League came around, and by the time Justice League came around, at that time, my entire interaction with it was people were mad that Green Lantern was black. So it's not just now, everybody.
Wow.
We all sucked back then, too.
Oh, my gosh.
And they didn't like that Hawkgirl was in it. And I think they didn't like that Hawkgirl was Hispanic either. So we've always been terrible people. It's not a new thing.
I love Hawkgirl. She's my favorite character.
She's high up there for me.
Yeah.
Top three. Mm-hmm. I'll just give my top three. It's Martian Manhunter, Hawkgirl, and who's the other one?
The Question?
Yeah, Question's pretty good. Can I have a top five?
Yeah, you can have a top five.
I actually really like the Wonder Woman, too, of that show.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the best Wonder Women, I think.
I would agree with that.
Anyway, so, yeah, all that. And then that's kind of the end of the traditional Batman Dini Timm verse.
Yep.
But then from there we go on to, of course, Teen Titans, and we go on to Young Justice, and so on and so forth.
Right.
Did you ever watch Young Justice or?
I watched Young Justice in the beginning, and didn't get super far in it. I don't think I even finished watching the first season.
Okay.
So. I liked it. I thought the Megan thing got a little.
Didn't like Danica McKellar as Magan.
I thought it got a little old. It was a little one note. I love Martian Manhunter, and I love that he has this. His niece. I can't remember.
I don't know. I don't think they're related at all.
Oh,
but,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because she's a white Martian. Spoiler alert.
Okay.
DC's it's a great character concept, but if your main characters never go away, and they never do, and even if they do, a la Barry Allen, we bring them back after 26 years or whatever.
Right.
every new character you introduce is just going to be a fun side character,
Right.
Even though they should be kind of leading this thing. And so, like, I love Martian Manhunter. Like, he predates even like direct involvement in the sort of Justice League DC universe thing. You know, as a
Right.
character that was created in the Silver Age in the 50s. So yeah. Fun, bubbly, completely opposite version of John Jones on the Teen Titans or Young Justice or whatever. Great concept,
Yes.
but it grows and has her own thing going in the cartoon.
Yes.
But in the comics, not really a thing. Just kind of one of those characters that ends up in like a big group shot. When you're having a crisis or something like that.
I get it.
Yeah, so it's too bad about that.
Yeah, it is.
Something that gets me about the post Tim and Dini cartoons is that they lack a unifying visual style that draws you in the way that those shows do.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's, every show is fairly distinctive, but when you see those lantern jaws and it's not even a triangle shape. It's just a triangle on a stick that everybody skipped leg day.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And
Yep.
the curly Q Superman hair.
Yep.
And you're right in there immediately. Like I'm just pulled in. And the other shows, no offense to Mr. Timm, who, by the way, when we talked to him at Emerald City Comic Con, was very nice.
Yep.
And I can't remember if I think I asked him to confirm the sort of fan theory, or so maybe it's not even a fan theory, but like Hawkgirl was their Wolverine.
Yeah.
They didn't want to use Aquaman. That's what it was.
Okay.
And so they looked to like, well, look at the X-Men. Like, we need a character who's the X factor here,
Yes.
who's the wild card. And so they took Hawkgirl, who's traditionally just Hawkman's girlfriend,
Right.
and made her this scrappy, like, we don't know about this girl. I
Right.
don't know where she's coming from. Perfect. And he said, yeah, that's what it was. Anyway, so I feel like the new shows sort of lack that. Like, I like probably the one sort of, and the further DC animated movies are that way as well. If I see some kind of severe lines looking guy with a red cape on, and then his face looks a lot like the guy with the black cape on, I'm like,
Yep.
oh, I'm watching Justice League War or whatever it is.
Right.
I would give a special shout out to Phil Barassa for the designs on Young Justice, because I think that those are pretty good.
Yeah. I think so too.
They look pretty cool, and I think they do a pretty good job of kind of differentiating between the young heroes
Yes.
and the adult heroes.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Because the young heroes are kind of more cartoony looking, and the adult heroes come in and they're all like grim looking and real,
Right.
hard lines,
Square
and stuff
jaw.
like that. Yeah. And having just a cast of those both sets of characters on the show, there's a real differentiation. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's that sort of Bruce Timmy kind of thing.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Sometimes we call him Timmy, if you're his friend. So yeah, I mean, just looking at I think there's technically 5 of the animated films are in the Timm-verse.
Right, sure.
Starting with Mask of the Phantasm, going to Mr. Freeze, SubZero,
Yep.
Mystery of the Batwoman, Return of the Joker, which is a Batman Beyond movie. It actually came out before Mystery of the Batwoman.
Okay.
And the Batman and Harley Quinn movie is technically, because it's written by Bruce Timm,
Right.
in the Timm-verse. Although I would argue probably not really in the Timm-verse.
Right. I really like Mask of the Phantasm, like, a lot.
Yes.
I think out of all of those films, it's probably my favorite. I've seen it before this watch through, but it's got a great story to it. It has a nice twist. The Joker is really delightful in it.
Delightful.
Well, I mean, as much as you can enjoy a villain, and I think him hanging out in an old time World's Fair grounds
Yeah.
is that's just a perfect place for Joker to hang out.
Yeah. And it's also, the later films are fine too.
Yeah.
Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero feels like a long episode of the show.
It does.
A perfectly serviceable episode of the show. But we're not really changing the dynamic anywhere.
No.
And the fact that they can do an origin story for Batman that isn't quite an origin story for Batman, they somehow go back to this it's just totally mud, this territory, because it's been walked over so much. And they managed to somehow snatch out a new story from that history of what we know of Batman is amazing to me. Nobody gets shot in an alleyway. You know what I mean? There's no pearl necklace.
Yeah.
And yet they go back to a very specific point in Batman's history, a point where, and it's sort of a year one type thing. And they draw on some elements of year one, definitely to make this film. They can go back to that and find this turning point where we reach a point where he's getting ready to do this. And the only thing that could stop it is him finding love, connecting with this woman.
Yes.
And wondering if he can still do this thing. Is he going to have this, I am the vengeance, I am the night, life, or can he have something more? And the fact that he comes to what I think is a fairly healthy compromise, which is, I haven't told her yet, but I will definitely tell her before we tie the knot on this.
Yes.
And I will do my best to protect Gotham, but I will know that I've got somebody at home and I won't just let darkness consume me.
Right.
He makes the reasonable choice, and for no fault of his own, because there's other things going on in that person's life that she did not tell him.
Yes.
It all falls apart. And that's the final straw that breaks. And I think it's very telling in that film that the scene where he finally pulls, and there's no bat coming through the window. We've seen all this before. Right. It's just a scene of him putting the mask on, and turning around, and Alfred's like, "Oh my God, he's terrifying."
He's like terrified.
That's when he's finally said, "Screw it, I'm Batman. I don't care."
Right.
And then she comes back into his life again.
I know.
Screw it up again.
I know.
And he spends a lot of time creepily hanging out on ledges, watching her have dinner.
I know.
And then she calls him out on it.
Yeah.
She's like, "What are you doing? Are you stalking me?" Yeah, I mean, we're talking about adult stuff. Like, I'm not talking about sex and violence, but things that a kid's just not going to understand. Come on.
No, exactly. And yeah, he does kind of like creepily watch her and everything. And he, he's trying to figure things out. So he like goes to her house and rifles through her stuff. And like, it's
his Casino Royale.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a point where he is not a fully baked cookie here. He's a little soft still, and he could go one way or the other. And it's better than Vesper Lynd because she's her own Batman.
Yes.
We could tell it from her side, and it's just Batman is interfering with what she's doing. But he reaches this point, and he feels betrayed, and he becomes totally like, no more girlfriends.
Exactly.
It's just going to be Bambi dancing on the piano at parties and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
It's pretty depressing.
It is.
Yeah.
It is depressing. And that she's become this angel of death or what have you.
Right.
And
Buzz Bronski.
Yes.
Your angel of death awaits.
Yes.
I also love how Kevin Conroy, who is just... No offense to my dad, but can he be my dad? Because that's just the Batman voice that I grew up with.
I know, right?
He's still fun for a guy who's like, Kevin, you're great. Here's what you're going to do for the rest of your life. Fire up the Bat computer. Like, that's just what you're going to do. But yet he still finds ways to do stuff. I love how he's doing that. And then he's like, thanks for the handkerchief, Rich. You know where to stick it. Like, I love his Bruce Wayne voice. And then he somehow finds a way to do like a young Bruce Wayne. He's like, Andy, let's go to the World's Fair. Like he's still finding, parts in his register to sort of like, characterize these different points in Bruce Wayne's life.
No, I get what you're saying.
What do you think about the animation in the film?
I really liked it a lot. I thought it was, it's very Tim Diniverse.
You met Tim Dini?
Yeah, Tim Dini. Great guy. So I really enjoyed it. When Joker kills the gangster who comes to him for help, and like he's just got like that face, that Joker face. I mean, that was just like really shocking and like just like hit you right in the gut,
Yeah, and I mean, it's a Batman feature film because it was planned to be a feature release. Mm-hmm. You're not going to not have Joker in it. He's got to be in it. But instead of doing, once again, the we're going to go around and around and do this forever. You know, Batman, Joker, both sides of a coin. Don't say coin. He's
right.
not in it.
Right.
It's not that. You've got this whole other thing set up, and you could have done an entire film that's just Batman versus the Phantasm.
Yes.
But instead, Joker comes in at the end.
Yes.
Or halfway through, middle, late second act.
Yes.
And screws everything up.
Uh-huh.
Like the Joker should.
Exactly.
And it is 100. I'm convinced that Jonathan Nolan has seen Mask of the Phantasm and stole this, because that's exactly what happens in The Dark Knight.
Yes.
The Batman's got the gangs on the run, and they turn to a man they didn't fully understand, Master Wayne. Sal Valestra goes and says, "You got to help me out against this. He's trying to get me."
Right.
And he's talking about the Phantasm. He's not even talking about the Batman.
Right.
And so the Joker gets involved. We also learn that this movie kind of gives us an early Joker story.
It does.
Because we learn, and this is unnecessary, but it's a fun kind of thing as long as you don't follow up on it at all. I don't want to know the Joker's origin. He's better when you don't know.
Yeah.
But that he, in another life, was part of this whole thing.
Yes.
I'm not sure that's totally necessary to make the story work, but it does tie him in a little more.
It does.
And it does, there's a reason why
for the Phantasm,
she's going after the Joker. Yeah.
Exactly.
How does she know that he was at the amusement park?
That's a good question.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know.
It's cartoon. Doesn't matter.
She's a detective herself,
It's just a
right?
cartoon.
She knows where to find people.
Well, is she?
I think she is.
She's smart.
Yeah.
We know she's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Batman's not smart. You pointed out when
doesn't-
we were watching that it's like, don't hang around in a graveyard in front of the Wayne family grave as Batman, and then your girlfriend
Seriously.
sees you and you run off, and she goes, "Bruce?"
Yeah, I know.
Oh, there goes your secret identity.
I know.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not a good idea.
Do you think she already knew?
I don't think she did.
Okay.
I think she figured it out then and there.
Why did she go ahead with her plan then? Because clearly the Batman is going to try to stop her. And she doesn't even try to manipulate him. Like, she doesn't.
No.
He comes to see her, and she basically lies about what happened to her dad.
Yes.
But she, other than that, she doesn't give him any reason to not. They just sort of had a catty sort of, spat, Virginia Woolf-esque type conversation. Right. And then
she starts crying.
But they don't. But she doesn't do anything to really throw him off the track.
No, she doesn't.
Except
really.
just lie about her dad.
She says,
"He's the world's
Daddy
greatest."
doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, that's after. Oh, that's true. Okay, I guess I'm wrong, because she does sort of restart their relationship. But
Yeah.
did she really mean to, or is that just another way to play it off until she can kill everybody she wants to kill? And then she just gives up the Phantasm mantle, and that was weird. I don't know who that guy was. Well, here's our new life together.
I think she didn't necessarily plan to start up with Bruce again, but it kind of just fell into place.
Why didn't she want to kill Alfie Reeves or Councilman Reeves?
Oh, good question.
Did she not? If she's so smart, how come she didn't know that he sold them out?
That's a really good question. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that.
Hey, this is one of my top 5 live action in my head future Batman movies.
Yeah.
So, I love it, but I'm comfortable poking holes in it.
Yeah, I
and this
suppose
is a movie
that
that
doesn't
is
make
like
sense.
half flashbacks, and it's still compelling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like half of the action has already taken place.
Yeah,
and it's still
true.
It's still fascinating. Anything else to say about the film?
I liked Andrea. She seemed like a good match for Bruce. Except,
Voiced by Dana Delaney.
Yeah.
The mainstay of the early DC animated universe voice cast.
Sure.
The voice of Lois Lane.
Okay.
Thought that was a little weird that they decided to use. Actually, was this before or after the Superman animated series? I didn't look it up.
Oh, okay.
It's got to be around the same time.
Yeah. I thought she was a good match for him, other than being the ghost of the Phantasm. She kind of messed that up. And
she's, she is somebody who has been consumed by vengeance.
She is.
Just like the Batman.
And she's somebody, they show her at the end on a boat somewhere, and she says she's alone.
Should she have just died?
I don't think so. I mean, I think, was going to put the mantle of the Phantasm, away at that point. But the Joker doesn't die. I don't think.
Well, I don't know where this... No, he doesn't, because he appears in Justice League and Justice League Well, basically just Justice League.
Yeah.
Later on in the continuity, so we know that he survives, but
Yep.
the Joker always survives.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it would have been okay for her to die, but we do know that the Phantasm comes back because
it does.
later in Justice League, when they're doing the wrap up for Batman Beyond, the epilogue, Amanda Waller is using the Phantasm as like a hired killer to take people out.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so
Super awesome.
yeah, there's a lot of Batman Beyond story that we didn't get because we got Justice League. But that is another show. We're talking about good stuff. I love how. So I don't think the animation holds up all that well.
Okay.
That's okay. It's fine. It's very of its time. You could see, and you see this often. You see this in the animated series as well. But you cannot underscore enough how much Japanese animation influenced Western animation in the 90s going forward.
That's true.
And I see there are bits and scenes that are directly from Akira in this.
Oh my gosh.
Like him, running at a guy who's driving at him on a motorcycle and then jumping up and like punching or kicking him off of it. And there's just things that are like, oh, I see Akira in this.
Okay.
There's also, they were very proud of the animation because there are a couple scenes of lovingly rendered crashing vehicles.
Yes.
It's very hard to show an object like rotating towards or away from the camera in animation. And let's see Bullock's car crash all the way.
Right.
So we can show this off. But what really stands out for me in this film is the storytelling, the nonverbal storytelling. Mm-hmm. That then the way it goes to character or to specific things. When he gives the scumbag congressman or a councilman the Joker gas, and then he's in the hospital.
Oh my gosh!
And we're like, why are we following this guy? And then, of course, we get our answer because
Batman is on.
We see a silhouette come in the door.
Yeah.
And this whole time, the whole thing is that the guy is laughing. He can't stop laughing, right?
Yes.
So even if he is like angry or terrified, he's still laughing. And so he's trying not to laugh as Batman comes in, which is not what you get usually when people see Batman come in.
Right.
But he's the actor's performance and the animation does a good job of showing how terrified he is. And there's this part where he goes, "Oh no!" Which is just like, you don't get that in something that is not trying to continue to give you character moments under this. Let's tell this story.
Right.
It's something that I think that SubZero doesn't have.
Okay.
SubZero is a very straightforward story.
Yes.
And we'll talk about it in a second. One more thing. The part where Phantasm comes to kill Joker, in his house of the future or whatever.
Yes.
And they're having this fist fight with gadgets. We get the idea that she'll probably win eventually, but she's a girl, so maybe she doesn't punch as hard. I don't know. But she's got Joker on the ropes.
Yep.
And we've already established that there's this killer robot,
I know.
Mabel, who's there.
Yes.
And Joker gets thrown back on the thing, and he's reaching for a weapon, and there's a knife, and there's a thing of bologna, and we cut back to the reverse, and he smacks her with the bologna.
I know.
Which is such a Joker thing to do.
It's great.
Yeah, why not just stab her?
Right.
But instead, he does that. So
yeah, it's comedic, and it's.
And how do we
fun.
make Joker and Batman fighting, him chasing Joker through a fun house or some weird thing fresh for the millionth time? And instead, they tromp through the miniature city that we established before in the Gotham Fair scene.
Yes.
With, little cars hitting him in the foot. And he's like, or Joker having the planes come after him, or like sneaking with the building on top of his head.
Yes.
Like, it's just amazing.
It's great.
But also,
riding the train.
There's the visual storytelling of it, his future being bright. He's got this woman in his life. It's amazing. They're at the Gotham Fair. There's going to be dirigibles, apparently.
Right.
And then we go back to that at the end, and everything sucks, and it's all run down, and his life is horrible because he just sits, soaking wet on rooftops all night. Like, that's some good storytelling.
It is.
And you didn't say a word.
No.
Want to talk about Mr. Freeze a little bit?
Yeah, let's talk about Mr. Freeze a little bit.
I think it's a good, it's a good revisitation of the Victor Freeze story.
Yeah.
But it's nothing we haven't seen before.
No. His wife is frozen in a thing, cryogenically frozen, and she has some sort of disease.
Yeah.
And she needs an organ transplant in order to survive.
Yeah.
So they kidnap Barbara Gordon because she has the same rare blood type.
Yeah.
So,
Which they look in the medical database or whatever to find the blood types.
yep.
And Nora Freeze is on it, of course.
Yes.
Which means how old is this database? Because there's,
know.
She's been frozen for 15 years or whatever.
Right.
But also she gives blood.
Yeah.
So she's a good person.
Right.
And she deserves to live, I guess.
Right.
Really, it's just a device so that Bruce can see, wait a minute,
Yeah.
Nora Freeze.
Exactly.
Yeah, but anyway. It's good to get Dick and Babs in this.
Yep.
It's sad that we get Batgirl in a movie finally, and she's kind of a damsel. Although she gives them a lot of trouble.
She fights quite a bit.
She gives them so much trouble, though, that if Bruce and Dick had never found her, I think she probably would have been okay. I
Yeah.
think she would have got out of that all right.
I think she would have too.
Yeah.
She escapes through a air ventilation thing, and everything, and she wants to know why she's there and everything. She's very feisty.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, she takes care of business.
yeah.
Other than that, you've got a rich white guy who needs money.
Yeah.
And he's a doctor, I guess. And
Yep.
So the characters are kind of stock. You get that thing that you usually get in a Mr. Freeze story where he's doing bad stuff. It's for his wife, of course.
Right.
But it all goes wrong, and he has to help Batman. He teams up with Batman at the end. And,
Yes.
It's just kind of the same thing.
Yeah, it is.
If you're going to do a film, really give us something different.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that this really measured up to that, sadly. It was okay, though.
Yeah, he had two
Good
pet
voice acting.
polar bears.
Yeah, he had the polar bears were awesome.
Yeah.
They were good. Let's talk about, chronologically, the Batman Beyond film is next, but let's just keep talking about Batman for now. Mystery of the Batwoman.
I enjoyed this.
Had you seen this before?
I had not seen it before. It really kept you guessing. They had what they set up like supposedly red herrings about who the Batwoman could be, because there are all these women that were being introduced.
Yeah. I know it's in the title, Mystery of the Batwoman.
Yes.
But when I saw this for the first time, I didn't really think that it was going to be a whodunit.
Yes.
And yeah, I think they set up her, and as it goes on, you're like, new female character, another one. Okay,
Yeah.
Oh, I see what we're doing here. We don't know who the Batwoman is.
Yeah, exactly.
And the greatest detective can't figure it out.
I know.
But anyway,
Which is probably the most unplausible part about the movie.
he's literally kissed one.
Yes.
How close does he have to get to these women?
Yeah.
Figure out who they are. Apparently, they're all the same body type.
Apparently.
Or all spoilers for all these films.
Yes, exactly.
I thought the animation was great. It was definitely stepping away from the animated series look and going more towards the colorful Justice League look.
Yep.
The way it would look in later versions of Batman or DC animated series.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was. It's a little cracking little tale.
Yeah, it is. And Robin is young in this version of Batman.
Yeah, well, Tim
as well.
Drake.
Yeah.
It's Tim Drake.
Yeah. So I thought that was good to differentiate from some of the other films.
Did you like the idea of the Batwoman?
I did. I mean, she kind of took some risks that maybe Batman wouldn't do, and she was a little reckless. So
40 years later to Batman Beyond. Every time he fights the Joker gang, he blows up half the city.
I know, right? So
It's the future. It's fine. We'll fix it overnight.
So, but Batman's like, she's a little reckless. I don't know about this, and like, he kind of doesn't want her to be associated with him in a way, I think.
Yeah. That was some good, I think, fairly well-rounded female characters who were capable. I didn't think it was a sign of weakness. I thought it was a sign of like a good idea that they traded this identity around.
Yes.
But they were punished. In the end, I did sense the moral question of, it's okay if I do it, but not if you do it.
Yes.
Like, what?
Right.
The
Double
one-
standard.
Yeah, the one that actually has something to lose, the cop, like loses her job
Yep. Exactly.
and is talking to Batman. It's like, all right, well, get out of here.
Right.
No more job for you.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, I'll go back to having billions of dollars and not needing a job.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
And
Why not? Why don't you come work for me?
Right. And also, the other two characters, I don't think they were punished at all.
Well, they
for
were
what they
never.
did.
I don't think they were ever seen with their masks off.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, because they come in at the end and drop off the Penguin to the cops or
Yep.
whatever, and it's him and the Sandra or whatever. her name is. Sonia. Yeah.
Yeah, the cop lady.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Rocky gets her boyfriend back out of jail
Yeah.
because I guess Penguin like framed him or something like that.
Yeah.
So.
And Bane.
And Bane.
Because why not?
Bane is in this too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
There's a guy that does close-up magic,
Yes, there is.
but it never really pays off.
No, it doesn't.
He does one thing where
Unfortunately.
he sprays his cards all over, and like that's pretty much it.
Yeah, pretty
Too bad.
much.
Well, that leads us to, I think, or should lead us to, talking about the only Batman Beyond film, Batman Return of the Joker, which in a lot of ways is a half Batman, half Batman Beyond movie.
Yeah.
Because the Joker that returns is tied to Batman.
Yes. And I thought this was another good twist that they did. And I didn't see it coming. Batman was convinced that, or Bruce Wayne was convinced that, Joker died. I buried him, So I don't know who this is, but
Yeah, we killed a man and secretly buried him.
yes. Which
We're good
all
guys.
seems on the up and up.
Well, I mean, it's supposed to be. They even say that in the movie that like he's dead. We won, but he's still got the last laugh because now we have to go forward and try to be crime fighters and have this secret of how we basically killed a guy and buried him under Arkham Asylum.
Right. And then Harley Quinn, they never found a body, so is she dead? Or
Come on, girls, let's go home. Oh, thanks, Grandma Harley, for letting us out of jail.
Oh, that was Grandma Harley? Oh, I see.
That doesn't make any sense, Dee Dee. I know, Dee Dee. I guess Harley had kids with somebody else?
I guess.
Or are they the Joker and Harley's kids?
Oh,
she didn't say
boy.
that she was pregnant when she fell off that building.
Yeah.
I love this movie. This is a really great movie. I had not seen this before. I've seen most of Batman Beyond, like the highlights. Mm-hmm. And I, too, was disappointed that it ended kind of shortly. The Justice League sort of epilogue is fine. It's a real game changer.
Yep.
I think if the things that happened in the epilogue had happened in the show, we could have explored them a little more.
Sure.
But I had not seen this film, and I really loved this film. Every time I watch Batman Beyond, I like it more and more. And I was one of the ones that went, why do we need a Batman Beyond?
Right.
What is he's beyond what? He's all black, great costume design. Duh,
Right.
But it's like, when you sit down, it's like, what if we took Iron Man, mixed him with Spider-Man, and then put him in a Batman costume?
Yep.
How can that not be good?
Exactly.
Yeah, come on.
I like that he can fly around without, like, gadgets and that sort of thing.
Well, this whole thing's a gadget.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it's escalation. Mm-hmm. If Batman can't fly by 2090 or whatever, then what are we doing here? Come on.
I guess so.
Yeah. And I also like the fact that, all right, you bring the Joker back for the millionth time, but what is his interaction with Terry going to be?
Yeah.
And it's, I like that I don't know, it's kind of, maybe it's kind of dumb. I don't know, but it works for me that you can't, Batman, you spent all these years like not talking to the Joker and trying to scare him, and you can't scare him.
That's true.
So what if I just piss him off?
Right.
What if I'm
Keep
like,
talking to him.
for a Joker, you're not funny at all.
Yes.
You suck.
Right.
And like, can I like find a chink in his armor? Can I, needle him? And yeah, I mean, it kind of works.
It does work. It was definitely creepy having the Joker back though, and having him be in charge of a gang.
Yeah.
And he has a clown sort of theme going through the gang.
Well, yeah, it's never really, I don't think it's really answered in the series. You get the idea that the Joker has inspired, as a sort of legend, these other sort of punks and gangs and stuff, but then he just sort of joins the Joker gang.
Right. Exactly.
That's it.
Okay.
It's not much of a payoff.
No, it's not.
But it's good, though. I would not, I don't want to denigrate the movie too much.
No.
Do you want to talk about Batman Harley Quinn? I think we talked about it on an earlier show.
We can talk about it a little bit.
What I love about the Timm Diniverse films versus some of the later films is that they are doing a thing where they're adapting, they're taking what we know about the character, like we talked about earlier in the show, and giving us new stuff. Whereas a lot of the newer films are simply adapting famous comic stories.
Right.
And they never get it exactly right in my mind. But how could you without Tim and Dini, writing, without a Glenn Murakami, without a Dwayne McDuffie.
Right.
We're all without Dwayne McDuffie at this point.
Right.
There's just something about this energy of that team. Then Alan Burnett, even the directors who put those old shows together. Like, it's this sort of lightning in a bottle that I feel like the DC animated universe has yet to really capture.
Yeah.
But the closest that you're going to get in the modern day is Batman and Harley Quinn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like the intro sequence. I think that's fun.
Yeah. I don't want to say it's better than the whole movie, but
it's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's sort of like I like Inspector Clouseau, but the cartoon Pink Panther stuff is fun sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't want a Pink Panther cartoon.
Right.
Like they made. That wasn't very good. But for me, it's undeniable that it's very well executed. But it's that same problem of Harley Quinn, which is like, I still don't really embrace her as a vigilante, or as a sort of anti-hero.
Right.
And we're lousy with anti-heroes. Like, she should work, and yet I still don't really know. Plus, there's the whole, who is this for? When they go to like a superhero-themed strip club.
Yeah.
And she bangs Nightwing. Like, they have sex.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is this for me? Is this for an old people, or is this for kids?
Yeah, I don't really think it's for kids. Kids!
Hey!
And why do we have to go there with Harley Quinn? That's kind of what I want to know.
Is she over-sexualized?
Absolutely. And I don't think she needs to be.
Yeah.
In Mad Love, the comic book, you see her in a negligee for a good part of it, but
that's something else. I think that this is my personal theory. I think that Tim and Dini need each other.
Okay.
Because when Bruce Timm writes, he comes up with great ideas, but I think that they're not quite as developed as they could be, and they tend towards the prurient sometimes. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he wrote this. I think he wrote it. I know he drew it, but there's this great Batman short in one of the Batman Black and Whites.
Sure. That
focuses on Harvey Dent.
Okay.
This story's been told before, but it's a story of like, he gets out of the thing, he's cured, he gets plastic surgery, gets his face fixed,
right,
and then he falls in love with this woman who turns out to be a twin.
Sure.
Just break up.
Right.
Go back on Tinder.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah.
He ends up in a relationship with both of them. He's like cheating on the bad sister with the good sister, and
God.
you know where this is going.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is very, it's got a very Double Indemnity sort of like sleazy, 50s vibe to it, which is great. But that's Bruce Timm's speed. Okay. So if you let him, he will give you a superhero strip club. That's what he's going to give you. Mm-hmm. Whereas Paul Dini will go off and he'll write these like crazy, complicated stories that have a lot of like things happening in them, but you don't have a lot of like heart and character. Not none, but just not as much as if they're working together.
Right.
That's why they got to stick together.
I think you're right. You get my chocolate and my peanut butter, that sort of thing.
Yes. They need to keep making the Dini Timm peanut butter cups.
Yes, exactly.
That we love so much.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to the future. We got the Reign of Superman, which I feel like they've done before, haven't they?
Jeez, I feel like
this is going to be the definitive one.
Okay.
And we've got, of course, all the content coming on DC Universe. So do you think that DC is going to figure it out? And what by figure it out, I mean continue to have amazingly successful shows on the CW and multi-million-dollar films at the box office, but still kind of number two? They're the Pepsi to the Coke, Marvel's Coke.
Yeah, I hope they figure it out because they have such great characters. I mean, they really do, and not just Batman.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of really great characters in the Justice League who haven't gotten their fair shake.
Yeah.
I'd love to see movies of. I'd love to see a Hawk Girl movie. Like,
Well, the world of Teen Titans Go, one exists.
yeah. I really love the Hawk Girl from Justice League, and there's no comics really about her. I mean, I guess there's Justice League comics in which she's present, but I would love to see that character expanded upon.
Yeah. I think that, so Marvel, around the turn of the last millennium, had a series called Ultimate.
Sure.
And it was a new universe. People were sick and tired of the characters in the regular universe because they weren't doing anything interesting. And so they created a new, edgy universe.
Sure.
Which has now wrapped up and is over.
Okay.
Because we didn't need it anymore because we'd revitalized Marvel storytelling.
Right.
And there were good stories back at regular Marvel. So they got rid of the old universe. Plus, the problem with having everything be extreme all the time is you burn out real fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right now, there's a popular storyline in DC called Injustice, which is an alternate universe where the Joker kills Lois Lane and Superman kills the Joker, and we get this dystopia where Superman is like ruling the world, basically.
Okay.
And it's real dark and crapsacky, but people like it.
Okay.
And I think it's the same thing. I think that people are frustrated and bored and fed up with what's going on in regular DC Comics, plus all the reboots and stuff like that. And I think that that's a symptom of, you know, needing to have better stories in your main universe.
Sure.
And there are some good stories. It's not like they're all bad. But I think DC is going to eventually get over this hump in the same way that Marvel does, and we'll have a real renaissance with them in terms of their storylines and realizing what they can do with their characters. And that can only lead to better and more exciting DC films, I think.
Sure.
So
One can only hope.
maybe the Challengers of the Unknown can find it.
Oh my gosh.
Well, thanks for joining us to go through some of the past hits, some of the late, great DCAU films. The
That's right.
DCAU, of course, continues on and will continue on going forward. But just that kind of one slice in time is something that I like to look back on. We've certainly talked about Justice League
Yep.
quite a bit on this show. And you have to do your rant about how Hawkgirl is your favorite character every time.
I'm sorry. I just feel obligated to.
Got a big Chica Halcon fan over here.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I like it too. Well, anyway, share your love with us of all these DC characters and even Marvel characters. And let us know what you think about some of these films on Facebook and Twitter and social media. You can find us at Just Enough Trope. Head there, head to Facebook and like us, head to Twitter and follow us, and join the conversation about all this nerdy entertainment that we love so much. Also, let's do a little show business. If you're listening to the show and you're not a subscriber on your platform of choice, be it Apple Podcasts, be it Google Podcasts, rebranded, be it Stitcher,
Right.
not Stitcher Podcasts yet, but I sense it coming. Or any of those outlets. Tell you what, why not subscribe to us if you're not already? That way you get a notification when the show is out, and you can get right there. You already get it. I also want to drop in that we are providing more streaming content now on YouTube. We're looking to get back into providing YouTube content. We've got some live plays going on there. Mika is fighting the good fight, and the fight is against the third-person camera, but she's getting there on YouTube, so you can find those at Just Enough Trope on YouTube. But anyway, back to the question of podcasts. While you're on your service of choice, give us a review, because we appreciate hearing from the fans and knowing how you think we're doing, and at the very least, give us a rating. Most important, you give us a high rating, we move up in the ranks, we get exposed to more people, and we get to increase the audience base, have bigger conversations, and have a good time.
That's right.
So give us 5 bright, shining examples of DC Animated Universe films with the involvement of Bruce Timm and or Paul Dini. Give us 5 of those.
Yes.
But we can't get stuck in the past.
No, we can't.
We got to move forward to the future. So give us 5 stars instead, and however many okay DC films going forward. We'll see. I'm still pulling for them. I want to see some really good DC films, and there's been some pretty good ones.
Yeah.
I actually liked the Superman versus the Elite one, the adaptation of that. Joe Casey or Joe Kelly? Always get them mixed up.
Oh, boy.
Sorry, boys.
I don't know.
But that, with Manchester Black and that sort of thing, there's been some good ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to keep seeing and give Kevin Conroy a job back. Come on.
Yeah, I know.
I don't need Channing Tatum to be Batman or whatever. Get old Kevin back in there. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know. We'll see. I got hope for the future. What's coming up in our future? We don't know. This is the last of our Convergence-related shows. I can tell you that we will have a bonus interview that will be a show of its own. We talked to Melissa F. Olsen, excuse me, the F is for frickin', for a long time at Convergence, and we want to make sure that you get the whole interview, but it's a long one, and so we will release that as its own show. And coming up in the future, I don't know. Sky's the limit. But as always, we'll keep you posted on social media about what we're talking about. And I think we've talked enough for tonight, so we're going to sign off. I'm your host, Caliban.
I'm your co-host, Mikan Hana.
Keep the geek fires burning.